Hello and welcome. Now that I've finished Portal 2 twice, we can get on with some videos again. So today we're going to be taking a look at using pistons to make various types of gates. And as always, we're going to be starting with the bare basic concepts, and then moving up from there, expanding on those concepts. So first we have the simplest gate you can make, basically a double door, flip a switch, flip it off. I just have the power connected to the switch going across and into inverters on either side, so that the inverter with this torch is powering the top and bottom just to save on redstone wire. In all these examples you can enclose them in a gatehouse to make them pretty, just sort of stack up some stuff to hide your wires. And then we can expand upon that and have overly large, ridiculous gates that we just feed the power into various inverters. Like up here we invert it, over here I inverted it, down here I got lazy and just took it off of an inverter off this lever and put it down. You can hide the wires, you don't have to use inverters, you can do whatever you want. I just got a bit lazy and didn't really care, but basically really huge door for no apparent reason. We got that, check. And then we can take that concept and instead we can just launch gravel up like in my detour walls video, except you make a detour wall into a gate, and so you just flip the switch, gravel, flip it down. For the launched gravel, you can only have a max of 3 launched gravel that can be properly caught, and then whenever you're launching it in a gate like this, we have the 3 spaces here, then you're going to want a 4th empty space just so that when it flies up, it bounces and then comes back down. Otherwise, it's going to break one of the gravel. I'll just demonstrate that real quick. Flip it up, and it broke a piece of gravel, so you don't want that. You're going to definitely want this hole empty. Then we come down here, we take a look at what we got. Basically the power is just coming down from the back of the switch, coming down. It's going into a repeater just so we can get that power, continue that power. It's coming around, going down and plugging into one, in the center and plugging in the middle, and the side, and down and plugging into that, so that we don't have any wires conflicting for the back side. And then for the other side, what we have is the power is not only coming down here, but also going down the back way, down another in a repeater. And because we have a repeater over here and it's set to the default 1, we're going to have to set it 1 tick higher, so we have it on one more than the default, the second option. Because you only need it 1 tick higher than the rest of the wire in order to properly catch the gravel or sand whenever it flies. Then we just have that coming up, plugging into this block, and the middle block, which is right underneath our pistons on the top. That way we have a slight delay whenever the bottom ones go off, we have a slight delay before these catch the gravel. So again, they just fly up and get caught. And again, make sure you have that 1 row so you don't have anything broken. And next, we got the more useful gates, which allow you to kill things that get by, which is always a plus. So it's pretty simple, of course. For this one I have lava, and you just have it connected to the ones on the bottom, and the pistons open up into a lava trap, and then anything that jumps in gets fried. And you can make it as big as you want, as long as you want, to prevent anything from leaping over the lava and similar BS. So you just have it coming from the lever, and I just have it going right across the blocks that are touching the pistons. And then if you don't have lava, or you like the look of cacti, specifically perhaps in a desert sort of setting, theme, whatever, you can always just use 2 layers of cacti, and so you're going to need your sand, and then a block underneath your sand, and then an empty space so that you can have your cactus free on all sides. And then you just do the same thing, flick them, it opens and closes. And then you can take a similar thing where you take everything from the wall examples and the floor examples, and you combine a floor with the ceiling and the walls to make a drowning trap gate. And again, it's a lot of redstone stuff that's exposed, so what would be great is to make some sort of gatehouse. You just have to enclose it up in a bunch of cobble or something to make it look nice. But I've added some glass as well just to see a bit better. And all that's happening here is whenever I flick this switch, I have some water that's being held up by some pistons, and I have pistons here that are over a pit, and some pistons here that will prevent anything from swimming through the water and into your place. So when we flip the switch, this opens, drops the water, this opens, allows a pit to form, and this closes, preventing anything from swimming through. And then when we flip the switch again, the water is going to be held back up with this. The residual water that is here is going to be flowing out because these pistons are going to close as well. And the water is going to go to the nearest hole, which then we drill a hole here and here. That way the nearest hole is on either side, and any residual water is going to flow into these holes before disappearing. And so if we flip our switch, that opens, water flows down, those close, and anything that goes in will get drowned. Since I can fly, I can just hacks my way out of that. And pretty simple. What we have going on is the redstone is just coming from the switch and going around, fondling up both of these pistons. One's going down, one is staying level, touching that block and going right across that block. And then up here it's just coming around and fondling these two blocks. And then in order to make sure that these two here are only open whenever, or maybe I should say only closed whenever the power is off and it can be in its default state of on, we just have the inverter doing the same thing that we had in the very first example, and it's just powering it immediately whenever it's off. And then when we flick the switch, the water flows down into the holes and disappears. And you can set up some better timing or whatever to just keep this open longer, but again, it's really not worth it when you can just drill a couple holes there. Laziness is always a problem, and it's always a solution. Haha, I have renamed my command pig. Yes, much quicker. So it's all very simple, and for these, what I would advise doing is, for a lot of these gates, if you want to be able to open them, for example, if you're on SSP and you want to be able to open them from either side instead of just a switch on one side, if you're not on PvP or anything, if you're on SMP, or SSP that is, single player, what you can do is just use the stuff from my previous video, this area right here. Just this whole, check out the temporary input, permanent output video, and just sort of plug that system into your gate so that you can have buttons on either side, instead of just one switch on one side. So that's pretty much it for this video. See you next time.